wage from $7.25 an hour between now and the year 2025 to $12 an hour, to $13 an hour. You double someone's pay, and the impact on business would be absolutely diminished, and it would grow the GDP, and it would grow and would generate economic growth. But it's not illegitimate as a small business person to worry about whether or not increasing it at one fell swoop would have that impact. I do support a $15 minimum wage. I think there is equally as much, if not more, evidence to dictate that it would grow the economy and long run and medium run benefit small businesses as well as large businesses, and it would not have such a dilatory effect. But that's a debatable issue.
I want you to meet another small business owner. This is Tim Etchinger, a Democrat from Milwaukee, co-owner of...
No, I just went live. You guys know that. You can literally see the amount of time I've been live in the bottom right.
In the River West neighborhood of Milwaukee.
I'm just trying to see if he's going to take my guns or not.
Primarily on selling our beer out of our tap room, and with the
damn, it's because the notice hasn't been sent out yet.
Business has gone down about 50%. Now we've relied primarily on loans, grants, as well as our own reserves to survive. However, the new assistance has been too slow, and recently it's gotten more restrictive on how we can apply.
Yes, it takes a couple minutes for it to get out.
So that small mom and pop businesses like ours will survive over large corporate entities?
Change it drastically. First of all, by making sure we have inspectors general. You may remember when the first bill passed, you may remember there was a guy running saying, what's going to happen is the banks aren't going to lend you the money. They're going to ask you a question. Do you have your credit with us? How many loans do you have with us? What credit cards do you have with us? Because even though they were being underwritten and we bailed,
my day was ruined because McDonald's doesn't have the Shamrock Shake. They said they do.
To lend.
That's horseshit.
What the president?
My McDonald's and I have a fucking.
I'm tired of talking about Donald Trump. Don't want to talk about him anymore. But the last administration spent a lot of time talking about how there was no need for inspector generals. We find out that 40% of the money, the PPE loans to go to PPP loans to go to small businesses, went to corporations that were multi-million-dollar corporations.
Maybe because it's not March. Damn, almost like they don't come out with it in March. The fuck?
That provides $60 billion.
Shout out most locations.
Capital investments in order to be able to open safely and make sure you're in a position that you can do the things that are recommended. You've noticed there's been very little federal directions for you all as to how to safely open your businesses. Yet, if you're able to test your employees, if you're able to be in a situation, if you serve people, you have plexiglass dividers, the whole range. Yeah, if you're able to have everybody with a mask and the like, you can do so much to safely open, but you don't get that direction.
Now you muting boss man, bud.
The money, I guarantee.
All I care about is my check.
Go to small businesses.
I'm fucking off the guns.
People, and I'm shooting.
That's all I care about.
The original definition of a small business is 500
vaccinations.
Employees. Well, that's not what I mean by small businesses. What we meant by small businesses, the mom and pop businesses hold communities together and keep people together. And particularly in neighborhoods where if you don't have a beauty shop, a barber shop, a hardware store, a grocery store, et cetera, the center of the community begins to disintegrate some. So
Shamrock.
What I'd like to do is, if you are willing to give me an address, lay out for you precisely, without taking more time, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm supposed to only talk 2 minutes in an answer, is to let you know exactly how that $60 billion as part of the recovery package will go to small businesses.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll have more questions for the President of the United States, Joe Biden. We'll be right back.
Someone trying to give me their CNN account? Hold up. I got to sign in, apparently. Because this shit ain't live on YouTube. It's live on CNN, and I only have 2 minutes left on it. Dog. Anyone know, like, a website I can find this on? That's not CNN. I feel like this is a fucking pay-per-view fight. I gotta pay to know what the fuck my president's doing? You're lying. Damn. Well, the reality is I have 56 seconds. Fuck, I have 56 seconds left on this shit. Oh shit, I'm fucking screen sharing the wrong thing. Hold up. Dude, I watched Judas and the Black Messiah. Just reminded me how useless MLs are today compared to what they used to be. Like MLs back then, 1v1 the police. MLs today would have canceled Fred Hampton for teaming up with the Young Patriots against the police. Like they would have been like, "Oh my gosh, Fred, he has a Confederate flag." Fred's like, "Bro, I'm just trying to like stop fucking getting shot by police, bro. Come on. Fucking sympathize a bit." And then defend China. They defend China way too much nowadays. Holy commercial break. This is what I'm looking at right now. Fucking brilliant. Was it good? Yeah, it was a good. It was a good movie. I was really surprised at how much it promoted socialism. Like I thought they were gonna whitewash the fuck out of Fred Hampton. But then they were like, "I'm not Catholic, so why would I give up anything for Lent?" But they were like, "Yeah, the FBI is ass." Oh, it's so true. Wonder how many people are going to be socialists because of that movie. They're going to be like, "Wow, I can't believe that there's an alternative this whole time. How come no one's told me about it?" Do only Catholics do Lent? Yes. Where do you watch it? The movie theater? The fuck is this? The fuck? All right.
And welcome back. We're live at a CNN Town Hall event at the Pabst Theater in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with President Joe Biden. We are back. Thanks so much for being here. We before we get back into the audience, I want to ask just a question about what we just witnessed. Before the Senate voted to acquit the former president in the impeachment trial, you said you were anxious to see if Republican senators would stand up. Only 7 did.
No way
Speaker Nancy
anyone
Pelosi
believed
called
that.
the rest cowards. Do you agree with her?
I'm not going to call names out. For 4 years, all that's been in the news is Trump. The next 4 years, I want to make sure all the news is the American people. I'm tired of talking about Trump. It's done.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said that the former president is, quote, still liable for everything he did while he was in office.
You're supposed to
If your
walk
Department
around
of
and
Justice
face
wanted to
the
investigate
people
him,
during the
would you
town
allow
hall.
them to proceed?
It's like more free flow.
I made it clear that one of the things about one of the most serious pieces of damage done by the last administration was the politicizing of the Justice Department. Any of you who are lawyers know, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, conservative, or liberal, it has been more politicized than any Justice Department in American history. I made a commitment. I will not ever tell my Justice Department, and it's not mine, it's the People's Justice Department, who they should and should not prosecute. Their prosecutorial decisions will be left to the Justice Department, not me.
I want you to meet Joel Berkowitz from Shorewood. He's a Democrat, a professor of foreign languages and literature at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Joel, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Anderson.
I wonder if
Not
Drew's
bad
power is
literature part,
off.
But after 5 years of French, I still can't speak a word, so I apologize.
I'll teach you some Yiddish sometime. How's that?
By the way, I understand a little bit of Yiddish.
I'm sure you do.
It would be a Shonda if he didn't, but
More seriously, Mr. President.
He's making a
like millions of
TikTok.
fellow
He'll be here
citizens,
after.
I was shaken by the attack on the Capitol on January 6th and on our democracy more broadly by your predecessor and his followers. While I
Holy
appreciate
shit.
efforts being made to bring them to justice, I worry about ongoing threats to our country from Americans who embrace white supremacy and conspiracies that align with it. What can your administration do to address this complex and wide-ranging problem?
It's complex, it's wide-ranging, and it's real.
I mean, there's never been a problem with, like, the United
civil
States
rights
has never had
and
a problem
opposition to
going
white
out
supremacists,
into
the
like
Ku Klux
black
Klan,
nationalist homes
the
and
most
shooting them
dangerous
dead
people
in the
in
dead of
America
the night.
continue to
Why the
exist.
fuck don't we just do that with white nationalists?
Threat to terror in America, domestic terror. And so I would
Like,
make sure that
can the
my
FBI
Justice
just do that
Department
to
and
fucking
the Civil Rights Division is
Klansmen
focused
once?
heavily on those very
That'd be
folks.
pretty epic.
And I would make sure that we, in fact, focus on how
This is the worst designed volume
the
button of
rise
all
of white
fucking
supremacy.
time, dude.
and you see what's happening, the studies that are beginning to be done, maybe at your university as well, about the impact of former military, former police officers on the growth of white supremacy in some of these groups. You may remember in one of my debates with the former president, I asked him to condemn the Proud Boys. He wouldn't do it. He said, stand by, stand ready, or whatever the phrase exactly was. It is a bane on our existence. It has always been, as Lincoln said, we have to appeal to our better angels. And these guys are not, and women are in fact demented. They are dangerous people.
I want you to meet James Lewis, an independent from Milwaukee. He's a labor attorney. James, welcome.
James, if I say anything you don't like, let me know right away, will you?
All right, you're all right.
About as big
Thank
as a
you.
mountain.
Good evening, President Biden. I was a public defender in Kenosha County when the police shot Jacob Blake. I witnessed the city I worked in burned and devastated, and recently District Attorney Michael Gravely denied to prosecute police officers responsible. So my question to you
Surprise.
is, what will your administration do to correct these wrongs that we witnessed not just in Kenosha, but across this country? And what will we do to bridge the gap between communities and their police?
Three things. First of all, I was a public defender as well. And I think it's high time that we had public defenders being paid the same as prosecutors. My son, by the way, was
That's
a great
actually pretty
prosecutor.
based.
He was the attorney general of
But how the
state of
fuck is he
Delaware,
going to do that?
and he was a federal prosecutor before that. And so I'm not condemning all prosecutors, but I am saying
I
that it
am.
matters that you have adequate defense and you are able to attract people who, in fact, can live on being able to be that public defender. Number one. Number two, we are pushing very hard, and I think we'll get it done, is the legislation relating to what is appropriate police behavior and studying police behavior and coming down with recommendations that are consistent with the legislation. that
10
were
piece
put in
nuggets?
place As a consequence of all the world.
I think yes.
One man shoved up against the curb and murdered.
Wait,
after
dependent
a
stimuluses
man
also go
46
to your
seconds.
parents.
And so there's a number of things.
You got to
related
try to
everything
convince your
from,
parents to give you the dependent
no-knock
stimulus.
warrants and a whole range of things, you know. There's legislation that's being introduced separately. I hope it will pass. But thirdly, I think we have to deal with systemic racism that exists throughout society. And one of the things I'm going to recommend there is that we look at an entire panoply of things that affect.
We're watching the
whether or
gun
not
grabber in chief.
people of color
Oh, bro, that's cool.
are treated differently. And that goes for everything from prosecutorial discretion. You know, as a public defender, by that I mean, what happens is.
Why are you in a full
takes too long
suit?
to go through the whole explanation, but.
Bro,
to it-
Did you not hear what happened
What
in
happens
China?
now is
What?
if you in fact.
Trying to fit this dick in your mouth, dumbass motherfucker. Oh my god.
because
No, I'm just
they
wearing a
had,
suit because I want to wear a suit
and
for
you
the
want to
stream.
charge them, you can charge them with
I
was-
should've-
robbery or armed
I should have
robbery.
anticipated
You
absolutely
charge them
no
with armed
correlation
robbery,
being there.
You get a lot
Yeah,
more
of
time
course there
than you
wasn't
don't
gonna-
charge with robbery.
I was looking for a
But if
hoodie
you
and
wanted
I
to
saw
make
a
sure
blazer and I was
someone
like, you know what I'm
doesn't
gonna
know
do?
much
I'm
about
gonna
their
wear a fucking
representation
suit.
As able to be,
That's the most virgin shit I've ever heard in my life.
By offering them to plead.
Yeah,
to
really? Did you
essentially,
actually have sex
it's
today?
not the same, burglary, which gets them 2 years and
I
probation.
please the fifth.
And so
Yeah,
you
that's
don't
what I
even
thought.
get a
That's what I
trial.
thought.
You plead because you don't have adequate representation. You feel like everything's against you, and you're in trouble.
And yeah, yeah.
The Sentencing Act that was designed to make sure we had the same time for the same crime. As chairman of the Judiciary Committee, I looked at
Kinda
all
looks like a
10
ball
federal
sack,
districts.
just a little
And we
bit.
took 6 months to do it
Yeah,
and
he's
found
old.
out if you were black and you were your first time offense of being accused of burglary and maybe you committed it, and you were white and you did the same exact crime. In all 10 districts throughout the United States of America, the person, and don't hold me the exact numbers, but the percentages are right. If you were a first time white guy, you'd get 2 years. You get 7 years if you were black. So in order to make sure that you could not send people to jail for the same crime, I came up with this sentencing commission, which said that everybody who commits the crime has to receive between, instead of 0 to 20 years, you drastically cut down the number of years you could go to
black?
jail. But say
He's like
you have
fucking
to- if
80,
it's a
dog.
First-time offense, you have to get sentenced between 1.5 and 3 years.
Damn, you
okay?
sucking on that.
But what happens is prosecutors
Remember
use
Trump?
that as a
Look at my
mechanism
African
to send
American
people
over
to
there.
jail and make
Isn't
it
he
look
the
like
greatest?
we're dealing with a mandatory sentencing, which it wasn't designed to do at all. It was designed to make sure that people were treated fairly. I'm sorry to go on. There's much more to talk about, but
We actually have a related question over here. This is Danny Evans, a pastor.
Yeah, I
in
think he
Janesville,
said you're
works as
black, not
supervisor
a
for juvenile
black.
justice
He just has like
program in
ass
Rock
diction.
County. He's an independent, voted for Donald Trump in 2020. He's also a member of the state's 32-member
Donald Trump?
task force created in the wake of the Jacob Blake shooting last summer. Danny, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Defund the police is discussed as an option for reforming policing. However, there are communities where people live in fear, not of the police, but in fear of the violent gangs who commit crimes in those neighborhoods.
So don't take my fucking gun. Is what he should be saying right now. So
that
fuck
they
off
can't
of
do
my
their
gun,
job
Joe
to
Biden.
protect the law-abiding citizens who live in these high-crime neighborhoods, and yet train officers to police with compassion.
by number one, not defunding the police. We have to put more money in police work. So we have legitimate community policing, and we're in a situation where we changed the legislation. No one should go to jail for a drug offense. No one should go to jail for the use of a drug. They should go
Based.
to drug rehabilitation.
Based.
When they say increase funding to police, though, they mean like when they do that, it's not like give them more guns. They're saying like increase funding to shit. Like I don't give a fuck what he's saying right now. He doesn't know what he's saying. Increased funding to things like longer training, like a requirement for longer training, an investment into social workers through the police department, not like giving them guns and shit.
Be spending the money learning how to be mechanics.
Because police actually get a lot of their like riot gear and firearms privately contracted, and actually a lot of the times donated by like rifle associations. So if you defund the police, you'll end up just defunding their training and not their fucking weaponry. So that's not something that I would want either.
Exactly where you were before. And the fact is that the concern in many minority communities is black on black, Hispanic on Hispanic, not just.
What is this guy saying
There
now?
has to be much more serious.
He is about to say 13.
I say,
He
much
is
more
this
serious
close.
Determination.
What the fuck
as to
is
what
going
the
on?
background and the attitudes of the recruit is. Where-
Motherfucker, could you stop slurping on some air and suck on a titty? Oh
like
my
you would
God.
if you go in the intelligence community? What is it? What are the things that make you respond the way you do? Because there is inherent prejudice built into the system as well. And we also need to provide.
People are like,
happening,
but you
more
have military
African-American
grade
and more
weapons.
Hispanic police
Okay, so
officers. Now, by the way, they don't get it all right.
if that was true,
By a long shot.
what's the problem?
Every
You know what
cop
type of
that
grade
gets their
weapons the
name
fucking
put on that
FBI
shield
has?
has a right to expect to be able to go home to their family that night.
I could beat him.
Conversely, every kid walking across the street wearing a hoodie is not a member of a gang and is about to knock somebody off. So it's about education.
Who's clapping?
I'd love to talk to you more about it
Knock
because
somebody
it is
off?
The answer, in my view, that and education, actually access to education. And one of the things that I talk a lot about, and I'm sorry to go on about this, but it's important. I don't think we can look at our opportunity in the let's stick with the African American community for a minute, in terms of the criminal justice system. That is only one small piece of why people are the way they are. You realize, I don't know what home you live in, but
We
if you
should
go ahead and
stop
you wanna
shooting
get
people
insurance
for
and you
wearing
live in a black
hoodies.
neighborhood, you're gonna pay
Finally,
more
a
for the
president who
insurance I'm gonna
cares.
pay for the exact same home. Your car, you've never had an accident in your car. You live in a black neighborhood, you're going to pay a higher premium in your car. So there's so many things that are built in institutionally that disadvantage African Americans and Latinos that we, in
Bruh,
fact, I think.
why is this
and one of the
man
great
like speaking about the
advantages-
institution
I'm
as if
sorry.
he's like not a part of it?
But one of the great advantages, as bad as things are,
You're the
let's keep
fucking
reading
president,
from,
dog.
Base
presidential
comrade
historians how
Biden
inherited
fighting the
worst
American
situation
empire from within.
since Lincoln, worse than Roosevelt, because economic crisis, political crisis, racial crisis, etc. But the fact is that everyone's gotten a close-up
I
look
fuck with
now
his tie though.
and
I like
seen
it.
what's happened.
Hold up.
That kid.
You know what I just
that
realized?
kid.
Why the fuck is he doing literally anything?
Yeah, honestly, low key.
Because he said he's not running for re-election. Why
That's
not just-
actually a big red flag.
what do you mean?
That's dude. Nobody has he has no reason to care. Like as long as
I
he just
know.
doesn't do anything illegal, literally he's fine.
Why the fuck is he he's doing so much? Why the fuck is he doing anything?
Bro, if I was a president like this, oh my god, I just
Ladies
have
going
fun.
in
I just
black
have so much fun.
Dresses going to church and little kids and fire hoses ripping their skin off. He said what happened there was it was a second emancipation because people in places. where there weren't
Why?
black
Maybe because he's
communities
already
said
like
that
3
didn't
years
happen.
over the
I
life
didn't believe it.
expectancy.
They saw it happen, and so it generated the.
He's gonna
the
like
Voting
step
Rights
down
Act, it generated
for
Civil
the
Rights Act.
next
He called
election
it
and just
second
let the
emancipation.
Democrat run,
We have a chance
like
now,
Kamala or whoever.
chance now to make significant change in racial disparities. And I'm going to say something's going to get me.
It
in
would be
trouble.
used as a
It's gonna
talking
make
point
me
for
Wait,
you.
wait,
without
stop.
doing that.
I
And
was
that
gonna say
is
something.
that, think about it. If you want to know where the American public is, look at the money being spent on advertising. Did you ever 5 years ago think every second or third ad out of 5 or 6 you'd turn on would be biracial couples? No, I'm not being facetious. The reason I'm so hopeful is this new generation. They're not like us. They're thinking differently. They're more open.
Oh,
And you got to take advantage of it.
okay. I get what he's saying now. I get what he's saying now. He was just like he's saying like there's a cultural shift against racism, but there's not like one that's institutional because
Guys,
like
they think differently than us. They don't hate other races.
like the American, like he said, the American people now are like way more embracing than they used to be, and it's not even something that seemed to be feasible in his time.
Oh, okay.
While the government is lagging behind, except he's fucking 2,000 years old, so it's kind of hard to get his point across. He needs a
Who's older, Biden
translator.
or Teddy?
My plan on COVID.
Biden. He needs a translator. They just need to like plug his
American
fucking
people
mind into like a
supported
fucking generator, and someone
69.
reads
In
the
this
thoughts
state, recent
and
poll,
formulates them.
60%.
That'd be
60%.
dangerous.
45% of Trump voters and 55% of Republican voters. The nation is not divided. You go out there and take a look and talk to people. You have fringes on both ends, but it's not nearly as divided as we make it out to be. And we have to bring it together. You may remember how trouble I got in. I said there were 3 reasons I was running. 1, to restore the soul of the country, decency, honor, integrity, talk about the things that matter to people, treat people with dignity. Secondly, I said to rebuild the backbone of the country, the middle class. And
This man really had his own "Make America Great Again."
And third reason is to unite the country.
Just less
In
white.
my own primary, I got unite the country. What are you talking about? You cannot function in our system without consensus other than abusing power at the executive
And that's
level.
why we will
So I really
all
think there's so
together
many things that we
band
agree
to
on that
invade
we don't
Venezuela.
focus enough on. And that's in large part, I think, because
I know you're
we
pissed
don't
that the gas prices
just
keep
condemn
going
the
back
things
up.
that are so
We found our next
obviously
target.
wrong. Obviously wrong. That everybody agrees on, the way they were raised.
Bro, I was kind of
The
mad
way
at
we
the
were
gas
raised.
prices
As my
thing.
mother would say, if
Same.
half the things that occurred in the last
Usually it cost me
campaign
like 20 bucks
came out
full
of my
tank.
mouth, and she'd say,
Bruh,
as a kid,
now
"You
it's
wash
like
my mouth
30
out with soap."
bucks.
My
I
gas
mean,
is like
we have to be more
$2.29 here. I'm
decent.
going insane.
It's
And
243.
treat people with respect.
Holy shit.
And just decency.
Let me ask about a question which does often divide many people in this country: immigration. Your administration.
What if you're just like, oh yeah, we're getting rid of the border
Democrats
next
expected
week.
to unveil an immigration reform bill just this week. You want a pathway to citizenship for the roughly 11 million undocumented immigrants. Would you sign any immigration bill if it did not include that, a pathway for the roughly 11 million undocumented?
Yeah, there's a whole range of things that relate to immigration, including the whole idea how you deal with, what confuses people is you talk about refugees, you talk about undocumented, you talk about people who are seeking asylum, and you talk about
Undocumented.
people who are coming from the that are coming from camps or being held around the world. And there are 4 different
Refugees.
criteria for being
So
able to
like
come to the United
3.
States. The vast majority of the people, those 11 million undocumented, they're not Hispanics. They're people who came on a visa, was able to buy a ticket to get in a plane and didn't go home.
But they are
They
Hispanic.
didn't come across the Rio
Wait.
Grande and swim, excuse me. And sorry,
Oh my God.
that's the Irish in me. But all kidding aside, so there are a lot of things that relate, but I think that we can no longer look. Even if you're not involved in politics,
No, the reason he said they are Hispanic is because he confused like illegals with Hispanic.
Oh. You went so
That's
consciously
like-
racist moment.
He meant to
Oh,
say like
no.
he meant to say like the vast majority of them are just here on overstayed visas. So he was like, they aren't illegal, they're here on visas. But instead he said they are Hispanic. Oh my God.
So you should come, have an asylum officer determine whether or not you met the criteria and send you back. If you, in fact, but you can't even do that. You got to seek asylum from abroad.
Just to be clear, though, and I know you're going to be announcing stuff later this week, or that's what I've heard. You do want a pathway to citizenship
Yes.
for roughly 11 million undocumented immigrants.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was the initial question.
For you.
Well, yes, but by the way, if you came along and said to me, in the meantime, we can work out a system whereby we're going to, for example, we used to allow refugees, 125,000 refugees into the United States on a yearly basis. It was as high as 250,000. Trump cut it to 5,000. Come with me into Sierra Leone. Come with me into parts of Lebanon. Come with me around the world and see people piled up in camps.
This motherfucker.
Damn, that's a little ironic. That's a little ironic.
Refugees fleeing from persecution.
Is
We
he
in the
announcing a
United
world
States
tour?
used to
What
do
the
our
fuck is
part.
going on, bro?
We were part of that. Send me your huddled masses. Come on. And so I would, if you had a refugee bill.
What if Anderson
I'm not
Cooper's like,
suggesting that.
let me hop in and
I
answer
would-
this
there's
question
things that
for
I
you.
would deal by itself, but not at the expense of saying I'm never going to do the other. There is a reasonable path to citizenship, and it shows up. One of the reasons why we have been able to compete with the rest of the world so well is most of our major competitors are xenophobic. You remember, I remember you questioned me when I came back from
NFL
China.
week or
And I
xenophobic?
said,
Xenophobic, like xenophobic.
Bro, that just sounds like
China policy.
NFL week.
and I got clobbered by saying, because said Biden didn't talk about the fact that how immoral it was. And it was when we were running against the Republican ticket led by Mitt Romney, a fine
You
guy.
just talked to China's president. I
Yes, for
believe.
2 hours.
What about the
Ooh.
What about human rights abuses?
We
in China?
must speak up for human rights. It's who we are. we can't. My comment to him was, and I know him well, and he knows me well. We're 2-hour
Yo,
conversation.
China Joe
I talked about
confirmed.
this too. And
Beijing
that's not
Biden
so much
confirmed?
refugee, but I talked about. I said, look, Chinese leaders. If you know anything about Chinese history, it has always been the time when China has been victimized by the outer world.
So
is
true.
when they haven't been unified at home.
So true.
So
Actually,
the
so
central, vastly overstated. The
No,
central
that's pretty
principle of Xi Jinping is that there must be a united, tightly controlled China.
Yeah.
And
Yo,
he
is he
uses
fist bumping
his
somebody?
rationale for the things he does based on that. I point out to him, no American president can be sustained as a president if he doesn't reflect the values of the United States. And so the idea, I'm not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in western mountains of China, and Taiwan trying to end the one China policy by making it forceful. I said, and by the he said he gets it. Culturally, there are different norms at each country, and their leaders are expected to follow. But my point was that when I came back from meeting with him, traveling 17,000 miles with him, when I was vice president, he was the vice president. That's how I got to know him so well, at the request of President Hu, not a joke, his predecessor, President Hu, and President Obama wanted us to get to know one another because he was going to be the president. And I came back and said they're going to end their one-child policy because they're so xenophobic they won't let anybody else in, and more people are retired and working. How can they sustain economic growth when more people are retired?
When you talk to him, though, about human rights abuses, is that as far as it goes in terms of the U.S., or is there any actual repercussions for China?
Well, there will be repercussions for China, and he knows that.
We will
What
invade.
I'm doing is making clear that we, in fact, are going to continue to reassert our role as spokespersons for human rights at the UN and other agencies that have an impact on their attitude. China is trying very hard to become the world leader. And to get that moniker and to be able to do that, they have to gain the confidence of other countries. And as long as they're engaged in activity that is contrary to basic human rights, it's going to be hard for them to do that. But it's much more complicated than that. I shouldn't try to talk China policy in 10 minutes on
ML Biden?
Yeah, wait. Low key, is he trying to help China become new global superpower?
No, he's like been on this ML tangent of like how we have to sympathize with China a little bit because the whole time, like throughout their whole history, if they weren't unified, they'd be invaded. So that's why Xi Jinping has like this expectation of centralization in China. And it's like a very xenophobic country as a result of that. And that's why he gave the example of like the one-child policy. But he said, I'm still going to hammer them on like human rights violations, but I see why they're going in the direction they're going.
Now
Like
say
he-
Biden.
Like, why is he's literally Beijing Biden right now.
Make
Bro.
that happen. Depends on whether or not you go to a private university or public university. It depends on the idea that I say to a community, I'm going to forgive the debt, the billions of dollars of debt for people who have gone to Harvard and Yale and Penn and schools. My children, I went to a great school. I went to a state school. But is that going to be
Base Biden?
forgiven rather than use that money to provide for early education for young children who come from disadvantaged circumstances? But
Low key, I would be
here's what
totally
I
fine with that.
I think everyone, and I've been proposing this for 4 years, everyone should be able to go to community college for free. For free. That costs $9 billion, and we should pay for it. And the tax policies we have now, we should be able to pay for it. You spend
Comrade
almost that
Biden?
more money
Yeah, no,
as a
this
break for
makes sense.
people's own
I actually
resources.
agree with this.
And I think any family making under $125,000 whose kids go to a state university they get into, that should be free as well.
Base.
And the
Hey, sure.
thing I do
Totally
in
fine.
terms of student debt that's accumulated is provide for changing the existing system now for debt forgiveness if you engage in volunteer activity. For example, if you were, if you're teaching school, after 5 years,
this is
you
actually
get
communal as fuck.
$50,000 of your debt.
Yeah, actually, it is.
If I just heard anyone else saying this in the last 10 minutes, I would just think that they're an optical like dangist. Like I'd literally just think that they were a China stan who were like trying to give a speech at school to like hide the fact that they were that. but they were like secretly like a Chinese fucking communist.
You can now, depending on how much you make and what program you saw, you can work off that debt by the activity you have, and you cannot be charged more than X% of your take-home pay, so that it doesn't affect your ability.
What did he
to
say?
Buy a car.
In the
own a
last
home,
10 minutes,
etc.
he's contextualized
Each of my
China's
children
action.
Graduated from school. I mortgaged the house. I
He
was with them
contextualized China's
for my son.
actions, why they are the way they are, how they need to work with them, but also hammer down a little bit. Forgiveness of student debt through volunteer work, nationalization of forgiveness of community college, like nationalization of payment of community college, and forgiveness of student loans to people making under $125,000.
$136,000 in debt after working 30 hours a week during school. My other son went to Georgetown and Yale Law School, graduated $142,000 in debt, and he worked for the parking service down in Washington. My daughter went to Tulane University and then got a master's at Penn. She graduated $103,000 in debt. So I don't think anybody should have to pay for that, but I do think you should be able to work it off. My daughter's a social worker. My other son ran the World Food Program USA, and so on. They didn't qualify. But my point is, I understand the impact of the debt, and it can be debilitating. And I think there's a whole question about what universities are doing. They don't need more skyboxes. What they need is more money invested in making. That's why I provide, for example, $80 billion, $70 billion over 10 years for HBCUs and other minority-serving universities, because they don't have the laboratories to be able to bring in those government contracts.
Imagine if the president could just fucking kill people.
Security or other future endeavors.
Imagine if the president just had a death note.
But I do think that in this moment,
That'd be so epic, actually.
Dog, no, it wouldn't.
Dude, I would love that.
Why?
That'd just be such a like IRL anime. Are you kidding me? So epic. Shinigami exists IRL. That is what we call a MAGA moment.
Mr. President,
I don't want that person to be president of the U.S. though.
You have over the years that we
Dude,
are
I really hope.
Wait, that's
MAGA.
low-key just Putin though.
Except now
Yeah,
you're living
kind
there
of.
and you're president.
Dude, Putin doesn't even like believe in borders when he's trying to kill someone. He's poisoned people in the UK before.
I get up in the morning, look at Joe and say, where the hell are we?
Back.
No, look, I've only been president 4 weeks. And sometimes, because things are moving so fast.
He hasn't even
not
been
because of
president for
burden.
4 weeks yet.
It feels like 4
Almost,
years. It's not because of the burden. It's because there's so much happening that you're constantly focusing on one problem or opportunity, one right ad seriatim. But what happens is that it's what I didn't realize. I had been in the Oval Office 100 times as vice president, or more than that, every morning for the initial meetings. But I had never been up in the residence. And
I low-key don't give a fuck about the sob
things,
story.
I don't know.
What would be the first thing you did in the Oval Office?
What would be the first thing I would do? Shit, bro. I'd be on my Bill Clinton arc. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Joke.
Pardon. So Alex, you would get head in the Oval Office first thing.
Yo, that'd be kind of, dude. That's kind of badass, though.
Bro, I'm not gonna count. I do a photo shoot so
I can't
fast.
even lie, bro.
I do a photo shoot so fast, bro. Holy
with the
shit.
homies.
Go boost.
Oh my god.
Bro, first off, I'm literally having... I'm inviting fucking Leonard Skinner and Noel Miller at the same time. I'm gonna have Leonard Skinner do a live performance of their album while Noel simultaneously does stand-up. Because I'm the fucking president. I'm just gonna chill on the couch with a fucking apple and cola.
Are you gonna invite me?
Speaking of that, wait, you need to listen to this, dog. So he messaged me back when I told him. He said, "Hey,
Noel Miller.
I'll message him soon." But I said, "I gotta go. I gotta go check the river. I think it's frozen.
Yeah, it's so epic. Dude, he's awesome, bro.
Fucking Chad. He's such a fucking Chad.
You know how crazy the kickbacks would be in the Oval Office? Dude, the ping is probably so insane. Fortnite, no lag, like whatsoever. At all.
It's totally different. You're on 88.
Biden, do you do
Look in
90s?
the rest of the
Do you crank
And
90s?
you can walk out. There's a swimming pool. You can walk off a porch in the summer and jump in a pool.
Hey, yo, where's his mask?
And, go into work. You
Shut up.
ride a bicycle around and never leave the property and work.
You know,
out.
they always like
but
say
White
shit
House-
like they always do so much shit to make sure you aren't armed. Dude, if Anderson Cooper really felt like it and he walked up to Biden and pushed him hard as fuck, Biden's not surviving. And the Secret Service couldn't do shit about it. It could just be too late. know what I'm
Wait,
saying?
you actually think Anderson Cooper is stronger than Biden?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bro,
yes.
telling you
what?
Out of all of us.
You're actually so stupid.
Look at
Bro.
Anderson Cooper. He's ripped.
This dude lives, bruh.
This dude is frail as hell.
Look at Anderson Cooper's shoulders, bro.
Yo, bro, it doesn't even
Look
like
at the
require.
fucking
Wait, it
Superman.
doesn't even require a fight. It's just like Biden's head will make contact with the floor and it'll just be over. The last-
CNN anchors could be the Secret Service. They got like Chris Cuomo on that shit. Anderson Cooper.
Yo.
Don Lemon.
They are kind of built.
For me,
Chris Cuomo is fucking huge.
Dude, he's
So,
ripped.
Don Lemon, that one guy.
president, so I got to know.
He's a
Yo,
good looking
man.
dude, bro.
Um,
They're honestly all good looking
is
dudes.
I always in the past looked at the presidency.
Anderson Cooper's mom was famous as fuck.
Lincoln and Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah, it was Gloria
and George
Vanderbilt.
Washington.
Yeah,
Malcolm,
rich as hell.
yeah, they're super.
Oh yeah,
the
he's connected to
Vanderbilt
Cornelius
family?
Vanderbilt.
Uh-huh. He's a Vanderbilt.
A Vanderbilt went to
Last
school
seven
at a
presidents.
high school in my town.
And at least
It was like
Ew.
Gloria, like one of her nephews or some shit.
know
Fucking
Yo.
railroad
He
baron.
was so rich.
I don't know if chat knows
Alright.
who the who. I don't know if chat knows who like the Vanderbilts are.
Yeah.
What the
fuck is wrong with you? Why?
Vanderbilt.
Okay, so I have a question for you real quick.
God damn, hold on.
Picked up the phone
Uh,
and called any former.
The Vanderbilts are like the fucking not even like. It was like imagine if 7 Bezoses were all like the same family, like just 7 Jeff Bezoses. That would be the Vanderbilt family, like the Rockefellers.
I know you don't want to talk about him, but
No, but look, it's
We know. Not everyone, dumbass. When I went to school in the North, no one recognized the Biltmore estate.
I literally pray that I
How did they get rich? Railroads.
to
Monopoly on the
for
railroad
the
industry.
country. What you all deserve need be done. But one thing I learned after 8 years with Barack is no matter how consequential the decision, I got to be the last person in the room with him literally on every decision. I could make a recommendation, but I walked out of the room.
When you watched
and it was all
Gossip
him.
Girl, that's so sad.
Nobody else. Buck stops there. And that's where you.
I gotta go. I gotta
pray
finish this
for,
paper. I'll be back maybe.
Making sure you're looking
This
at
guy finna go masturbate.
the impact on the country and a little bit of good luck at the judgment you're making.
Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
in this town hall. We want to thank our audience for being here for their.
Where was this recorded?
We also want to thank the Pabst
Well, this
Theater
is
for
live.
Seen It Tonight with Don Lemon starts right now.
But where is it being recorded? I mean,
All right, so Teddy, you know that video that you had on the doc by Milan Brown?
Milan Brown?
Yeah.
No, that I'm not ringing a bell. What's the topic of the video?
Oh, it's like on MMT, but it was Milan Brown. He was the one that worked with Kalecki.
Oh, you mean the Harvey? You mean John Harvey?
No, Milan Brown.
Is that the name of the person lecturing?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't recall.
Oh, it's Milan Brown dick in your mouth.
bro, what fucking phone do you have?
You know Teddy's molding right now. What the fuck?
Top 1 worst bills. I hate this shit so much.
What, HR 317?
127.
Ilya, that meme
Oh,
you
one-
sent was like a fucking Trump tweet.
Dude, it was not a Trump tweet.
Yes, it was.
No,
All right,
it
I got a
wasn't.
dip. I'm playing this
Taking
with the
your
homies.
guns.
Because that's, bro, that's like not even inaccurate.
Yeah, Biden's not coming for my guns.
So true. Wait, let me pull this up. He said it's a Trump tweet. It's literally just true, bro. Like,
The literal Trump tweet.
no, it's first off, Trump is literally banned off Twitter.
I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just a Trump tweet.
Well, all Trump tweets are wrong, so don't insult me like that. You said it looked like an NRA flyer.
Yeah. Same thing.
It was made by like the SRA, I think, though.
For
Is-
real? Is it
yeah.
actually made by the SRA?
Either the SRA or some ANCAPs, but I know they're anarchists.
Okay. That's the SRA. I'm about to look dumb as fuck.
I mean, you're gonna look dumb as fuck either way because it's not like an NRA or a Trump tweet.
It's just worded weird.
No, it's worded. It's a fucking infographic.
Like lowercase in this. I don't know.
that.
I'm not rocking with the strategy there.
Okay, pussy. You get no bitch.
This angle makes it look like I have hella breakout. What the fuck?
I do
Not
right
liking
now.
this.
I have a big ass thing right here. Can't get rid of it. Down. All right. Fuck, I really don't want. Whatever. Holy, finesse the system. What up, bro?
What's up? Bro, aren't y'all watching the fucking...
It just
Where the
ended.
fuck did Alex go? I checked him from the stream like 30,
Right.
10 minutes.
Drew said this looked mad Trumpy.
Shit does.
I mean, it's just accurate. Every gun owner will have 3 months
That
to
looks like some
report.
shit that would be on like the Republican side of fucking Facebook or something.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
3 months to
Josh has
report.
fucking common sense.
3 months. 3 months to report all owned
And
guns.
16, 15 years minimum in jail.
That's just fucking true, though. How are you gonna get mad at like fucking real information?
Never had any, and then whatever the hell it says after that.
Look at this, bro. You have to report where you keep your guns. Are you fucking shitting me?
To the state?
Yeah.
But like, that's
Database.
No, the bill sucks. The bill sucks. Don't get me wrong. But that might be a good idea in like reducing kids getting hold of weapons and like shooting themselves
Yeah, I
with
think
it.
that's the purpose of it.
Database, which the general public will have access to.
That's just right.
Are you fucking kidding me? Dude,
That was robbing people so much fucking easier. Like,
I know. I'm saying, bro.
Yes,
People
fuck
just
that.
gonna be like, who do we hit the lick on today? Oh, all of these fucking people have firearms. We can't hit the lick on them. This person, though, let's just fucking rob them real quick. And you know there are gonna be some sick ass motherfuckers that buy guns illegally who like are on some LARP shit just so that you break into their house because they think you're like database free and like they just have an arsenal and they're like on their John Wick arc. Like they were just waiting for you to try to rob their fucking house. 21 years old for any gun.
This man Ilya wanted to get a fucking gun today or some shit.
Dude, imagine like you fucking live in the hood by yourself at like 19, 20 and you literally
Just get an illegal firearm then.
That's what I'm saying. Like you literally just need a fucking like you just need a stick to be safe in your crib. And now you have to get that shit illegally. And like so let's say your neighbors have a fucking drug
I feel like
arrest.
if you live in a hood, you're gonna get it illegally regardless.
Bro,
So-
that's not always true. Like that's a stereotype. What the fuck?
I'd say at least 40% of the guns that people own within lower income areas are probably
And 50% of them are legal. Pass
Yeah,
a background
sure,
check.
but, like,
Okay, that's fine. Pass a psych evaluation. Those might be ableist as fuck.
Yeah, probably.
Pay for 24 hours of training. That's going to be classist. You could have the fucking federal government pay for it if you really want that shit to happen. And purchase an insurance policy from the government. This is the most classist shit of all time.
Moving to a city by myself as a woman in 6 months, get a taser and some pepper spray.
Nah, bro, just fuck the federal government. This is just recommendations. Like, at a certain point, if you disagree with the law, it's just recommendations. Like, this shit, like, anyway, that's a joke. I'm talking about Minecraft. You won't be able to get a license if you are evaluated to be mentally unfit. I want a like explanation of what that means.
Yeah,
you have
what does
ever been diagnosed with depression? Ever. Are you fucking kidding me? Ever.
Wait, what's the extent of like the mental, I guess?
20 years ago you have depression, you can't buy a fucking gun anymore. You know how many people are just like not going to get like fucking mentally evaluated after that, like if this shit passes? If you have ever had any brain disease?
People that buy firearms are not the same people that go to therapy.
Yeah, but like, dude, if like 30 years ago.
I mean, sure.
There's no statute of limitations on this. If the evaluators think you have an alcohol problem, what if you're just hella frat? Dude, I just fucking love Natty Lights, bro. Just let me get my fucking 12 gauge. Interview your family and even exes to see if you are mentally sound. What about military
I'm
style?
not reading it off this fucking propaganda.
Read the bill. Just pull up HR.
I'm searching up the bill right now.
You need a separate permit for military style. Okay, who cares? I'm pretty sure they made the original proposition really, really bombastic because they expect to negotiate it down a lot. There's no chance that this one's getting passed. They're putting a bunch of horse shit in it so that they could be like, well, we could bring it down to this. Like when you have like a fucking vendor who's like, oh yeah, that'll be $70 fucking dollars, where he knows that he won't sell it to you for $70.
Right, there you go. Ah, fucking hell. Only put. Hold on.
This is not true. If the federal government does something, it's going to be racist in its application. And it's, maybe, no, it will be racist, but I can make the absolute metaphysical claim that it will be classist at the very least. Like, no doubt.
Yeah, that thing is really, really classist.
There has not been one gun control measure that hasn't been classist. Like the bump stock ban 2 years ago, they were like, dude, bump stocks cost like $500. The ATF was like, fuck you, we're not buying them back from you. You just destroy them. Send proof that you destroy them. We're not reimbursing you for them.
Sometimes gun control being classist would be a good thing, but not in this situation.
So like if you have like a daughter, I guess, who has like depression or something, I don't think you'd be able to buy a gun.
Yeah. You're looking at the bill? You're looking at the bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
fucked.
looking at the psychological.
It's fucked. Like imagine you're a fucking potato farmer and like in the Midwest, and then like your daughter or like your son gets diagnosed with depression, and now the ATF is like, you have to turn over your AR-15, and you're like, how the fuck do I protect my crops? And they're like, oh, well, you could use a knife, Biden said.
like universal background checks are classist, and that's probably a good thing because poor people are more likely to have mental illness. But when it's specific to a band, that is usually a bad thing because it just hinders them from specifically having something not based on anything else that people it doesn't affect because they can just afford to pay it.
Someone said you living in the Midwest, you gotta have depression. That's a hot take.
Pretty sure you could just look at the rate for that.
Dude, I like talk a lot. Oh my God. Imagine a public database where you're ousted as a commie in your school and a bunch of mad hicks are like, let's see if he's armed. And they're like, oh no, he's not. Let's go fuck with him. Great, bro. Great. Because at least now I can bluff. I was on the phone with someone and I was like, yeah, I got a fucking 12 gauge in my closet. That's why I'm stocking up soon. This bill is scaring the fuck out of me.
So true. This is my pouches. Guess what's in there?
Do you have a firearm?
My dad has
Yeah.
a firearm.
Let me get it.
Shut the fuck up now.
How many do you have?
There's one.
My homie
Yeah.
was gonna sell me a rifle for 35.
My mom's boyfriend had a Hella in our old house. That's where I got those from.
Cause my homie's grandfather passed away, and he had like 35 fucking firearms. But the one he tried to sell me had no serial number on it. So I was like, bro, did you fucking shoot someone with this? Why doesn't it have a fucking serial number on it?
Yeah, this bill's tough.
I'm
That
telling
is-
you, you guys are like, oh, it's not that bad. Fucking,
I read that bill. What the fuck?
that bill is insane. That bill.
Like the fees on that shit are
Who the fuck sponsored that bill? Who wrote it?
Oh,
Watch it be like AOC or some shit.
Wait, what's the HR number for it again?
was Jackson
127.
Lee, I think.
Jackson
Iowa
Lee,
Jackson Lee.
probably from Malibu. Like they definitely represent like a very safe, very